This episode is brought to you by The Punch Escrow by Tal M. Klein. Even if you don't watch HBO's Game of Thrones or read Gur Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire, you know that it's the franchise with dragons and a giant ice wall. It's the two things that most exemplify the fire and the ice of the story. Who would win in that fight? Ice or fire? To find the winner, we'll have to make a lot of assumptions about dragons, their fire, and the structure of the wall itself. Game of Thrones may be a fantasy story, but we happen to know an awful lot about how much energy is in fire and how much energy it takes to melt ice. So let's begin. Mathematics is coming. First, the wall. According to the show and the novels, the wall is 480 kilometers long, about 213 meters high, and on average 90 meters wide. If you combine this with the density of ice, you have over 9 trillion kilograms of White Walker barrier. It's because I drink and I know things. Next, the dragons. If we want to know how many dragons are needed to melt some amount of ice, we need to know where the fire comes from chemically. According to the show's producers, on Game of Thrones, when the dragons are breathing fire, they're actually using giant flamethrowers, which I assume use regular old gasoline or something like it. No, it's pretty cool. Even this season, they set a record for the number of actual humans on fire on screen at once! No, it's cool. It's like 20. No! Now we have two chemicals that deal with energy very differently. H2O molecules can absorb a lot of energy before going into the liquid phase from the solid phase, and gasoline can release a lot of energy before it's all used up. For water, the energy that it can absorb before transitioning phases is called the enthalpy of fusion, and it's like the little extra kick of energy that the water molecules need to start acting more like a liquid instead of a solid. It is around 333 joules for every gram of ice. Gasoline, on the other hand, releases a lot of energy when it's used as fuel. For every kilogram of gasoline that is combusted, it releases 46 megajoules. This is why it's so hard to find an alternative energy source for our cars. Gasoline is very energy dense. Nice. No! But a pure energy budget isn't gonna solve our problem. It matters how cold the wall is and how much fuel is in a dragon. We need to know how cold the wall is because not only does it take energy to melt ice, it takes energy to bring ice up to its melting point. Specifically, around 2 kilojoules per kilogram for every degree Kelvin that you want to raise it. In A Game of Thrones, Gur Martin says the air in the north is cold enough to freeze the laughter in a man's throat. Have you ever been in a place that's cold enough to make it hard to breathe? I have. It's around 40 degrees, where Celsius and Fahrenheit meet on thermometers. This is gonna be the starting temperature of our wall. Yep, Gur Martin, more like Burr Martin because it's cold. Because it's cold. Mathematics is coming. It's coming. It'll be done when it's done. Stop rushing me. We need one more number, and it's how much fuel, gasoline, or the biological equivalent our dragons carry. Now that's a good dragon. Going again with the flamethrower comparison, a military flamethrower like the M1A1 has a carrying capacity of 19 liters. So this will be the starting capacity for our dragons. Oh, no, this is fine. Math. You get it? It's a reference to the show. Okay, if you take the volume of the wall, multiply that by the density of ice, you get the mass of ice in total. Then if you multiply that by how much energy it would take to raise all of that ice 40 degrees Kelvin, and then add that to how much energy it would take to take all of that ice and melt it, and with its enthalpy of fusion, then you have how much energy you need to melt the wall. How much energy would have to be coming from gasoline. When you divide it by the 46 megajoules, and then you get an amount of gasoline in kilograms, and if you divide that by the density of gasoline, then you get the volume of gasoline that you need, and if you divide that by a 19-liter carrying capacity for dragons, then you get a grand total of 5 billion dragons. It would take 5 billion dragons of our consideration to melt the wall completely. No matter what screen you are watching this video on right now, there are physically not enough pixels to show you how many dragons it would take to melt the wall. But now that we have that equation, we can use a little bit of mathematics magic to ramp things up as much as we— Whoa! Oh, you winged me! Oh, I wasn't even on the toilet! Daenerys' fully grown dragons are absolutely enormous. So what if instead of 19 liters, they could carry 100 times more, 1900 liters. Then we would only need 56 million dragons. Still a lot more than 3, but we're getting somewhere. Let's see if we can bring that number down. If it was summertime at the wall, then it might already be at 0 degrees and it wouldn't need any heating up, any additional energy to heat it up. Then we would only need 45 million dragons. What else can we do? What if not all of the wall was ice? Some of it was other materials inside, like wood, superstructure, or even magic. Ice doesn't have the compressive strength to withstand being built up into a structure that big. So what if maybe only 2/3 of the wall was actual ice? Then you wouldn't have to melt all of it. Then we would only need— carry the science. You would only need 30 million dragons to completely melt the wall. It's starting to look pretty clear who would win in a battle between ice and fire. But since we still have our math, let's try one more thing. If all of the gasoline that was needed to melt the wall was in a single spherical biosack, it would have a diameter of 500 meters. If you put this into a single dragon, that dragon feasibly would have to be many kilometers long to accommodate all of this fuel. It would be longer than a dozen 747s and pretty much any other dragon in fiction. I want to see that on the show. Oh, nice. Fire! So, how many dragons would it take to fully melt Game of Thrones' famous ice wall? Millions or even billions, according to my assumptions. You might have different ones. I was rooting for the dragons myself, but if anything, this shows the power of chemistry, the power of H2O to resist, to repel, to absorb. In a battle between ice and fire, ice could definitely be the winner. Because science— but I was a fan favorite. Oh, I hadn't even died in the books yet. Oh, Ger Martin, I'm coming for you, man. Oh, I had a contract, couldn't cut my hair like Kit Harington, and now I'm dying. But for real, 'cause I got shot. I wasn't even on a toilet. Oh no. Someone, I see demons. Oh, I see demons. Oh. Thank you so much for watching, Jenny. If you want more weird science stuff, check out Muskwatch with me and Dan Casey, where we get very silly about a very serious man, and I'm gonna have to apologize to him. And if you want more sciencey stuff with just me, you can check out The Space Program, which is now on Alpha if you go to projectalpha.com. It's kind of like Cosmos mixed with Mystery Science Theater, and it's a lot of fun. And if you want to, subscribe and check it out. Also, why am I standing like this? It's because you asked, and I answered. We now have surprise lightsaber t-shirts! And you can go into the comments where I've put a link to go buy one of these shirts, and this is all because of you, and I like how they turned out a lot. There's even 2 kinds, so you can spin around, there's nothing here, and you can surprise like that. So, buy them. Or not. Dubbed the next Ready Player One and perfect for fans of dark matter, The Punch Escrow is the must-read book of the summer. Already in development for film, this genre-busting debut is part hard sci-fi thriller, part love story, and part high-stakes adventure through a world where teleportation is the norm. After he's accidentally duplicated while teleporting, Joel Byram must outrun the most powerful corporation on the planet and find a way back to his wife in a world that now has two of him. The Punch Escrow is the first book in Geek & Sundry's publishing imprint with ink shares and will be available wherever books are sold July 25th. Where is Littlefinger from? Sometimes he sounds like me, and sometimes he sounds like he's from Scott, Ireland. And he's like, sometimes when you play the Game of Thrones, some people are going to lose. Where are you from? Where?